At 2 Point Hospital, over 52% of our patients believe they leave healthier than when they arrived. Our precisely calibrated equipment is operated by compassionate healthcare practitioners, many of whom have even been to medical school or watched ER. If you suffer from turtle head, let us ease your worries and noggin gently out of your body. Chest infection is no laughing matter. Put your trust and oversized shoes in our capable hands. We're building a brighter, safer future, and hardly anything will stand in our way. You deserve the best. So join us at 2 Point Hospital. We're open for new staff, new patients, and a new you. Can I go play golf yet? I'm teeing off at 3.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back here with another 2 Point Thursday video. But before we get into that, I have an announcement, as yes, very soon we are going to be starting a 2 Point Campus playthrough series. I'm really looking forward to that. Hope you guys are too. Keep your eyes peeled. But back to today's episode, as we have of course got to start with a debrief of our previous installment of this series, and unfortunately last time out we were plagued by a glitch in our very first building, disabling us from being able to place any more items. We'll have to try and resolve that later in today's episode. However, our third building is absolutely thriving. We already have 4 psychiatrists, 4 chemists. We just have a large area towards the entrance that needs to be filled and completed. Meanwhile, our second building's looking rather empty at the moment, some corridors needing a few more benches and plants, and we do have quite a large area at the back. We may be able to place a few more rooms over there. But now, of course, we start today's video with a bit of an overflowing bin problem, to say the least. We need to get onto the top of that. And that is certainly not what we want, not great for hygiene, and certainly isn't that pleasant to look at either. So we are going to hire a janitor. We're going to go for Erica Goose. Hopefully she can get quacking with getting onto the top of our overflowing bin problem. We are going to try and place her at the bin, but no, we have to place her into the reception desk so that she can walk all the way around to the bin to then go and sort out the bin. Absolutely fantastic. We do love 2 Point Hospital. It is a fantastic game, apart from when you get glitches disabling you from being able to place any items. We still can't place any benches or anything. Meanwhile, we have discovered a new illness, monobrow. Oh, I love these. This one is caused by an excessive consumption of both highbrow and lowbrow entertainment. Absolutely hilarious. And there's just so many funny, comedic, different diseases you can have on the 2 Point Hospital game. And I'm sure there are plenty of comedic, different courses you can take on 2 Point Campus when we get into that very soon. But such a fun game to play, absolutely hilarious at times. We are going to have a reporter visit very soon, which is great to see. Hopefully they'll give us a strong review. We don't want a negative one. Of course, that would stop people from coming to our hospital. They might go to Jumbo Megacorp instead. Sally Fig Blanket is arriving at the hospital, a 2 Point radio reporter to be specific in terms of her job and occupation. This is our third building at the moment. We do have quite a large area to fill at the front. I was thinking about another news agent, but we already have one, so I don't think we need 2 news agents in one building. It is quite a small building. I do believe actually the smallest of our 3 buildings, if I'm not mistaken. The first building isn't the largest actually out of the 4. I do believe the largest will be the one we're hoping to build later in today's video. And as I'm sure you can see, our hospital funds are absolutely shooting through the roof. They were a bit. That started to go down now. I think we might have had to pay off a loan or something. It was quite high, but 90,000 down to 47. But we are in a lot more of a financially stable position. Meanwhile, Dr. Crane, one of our junior nurses, has given us a challenge to get a level 4 staff room. We are going to accept that. It is quite the challenge, but that's certainly going to make the start of today's video jolly exciting, to say the least. We are going to try and make our staff room prestige level 4. Not an easy thing to do, of course. Prestige level 4, quite a difficult level to reach. Level 3, you should be aiming for that for every single room. Of course, the higher the prestige level, the better your hospital as a result. So we want to always reach prestige level 3, as we have, of course, done with this staff room. And you can often reach prestige level 3 by going for the minimum size room and nicely decorating it, filling it with sofas, chairs, snack machines, and so on. In this case of the staff room, if you're in a GP office, maybe a few cabinets, plants, fire extinguisher. Don't know why you need that, but we place one in every room. And, of course, a bin, as always, that sort of good stuff. Unfortunately, though, we haven't unlocked that many customization items at the moment. It's rather frustrating, actually, because, as I've said previously, it would be much nicer if at the start of the game you can have a few more customization options. I think it's a great idea that you unlock them as you progress onwards, but it would make it feel a bit more worth it to decorate the hospitals like Hogsport and Lower Bullocks at the start, and I hope that is the case in terms of having more customization options at your first few universities in 2 Point Campus. We'll find out very soon, of course, with the start of that series. At the moment, of course, we are looking just to increase our staff room, but we are nowhere near even making it halfway to Prestige Level 4. About 25% of the way so far, maybe just slightly over. So we are going to probably have to expand the size of our staff room even further. Thankfully, the rest of this back side of our first building isn't really being used for anything else, and we can't really place another room there, and it's generally just a cornered off area for staff. I was going to maybe place a couple of snack machines outside for them, but that could then entice some of our patients to come over. It's meant to be a staff-only area. That's what we want it to be like, but unfortunately, patients don't always pay attention to that, to say the least. There's no need to come in here for a patient, because you can't get into the staff room, but still, they are not following orders. But I'm sick, so I'm going into the staff room whether you like it or not. I am going in the staff room. And now we have reached half of the way to Prestige Level 3, so we are slowly managing to get there, but as I said, we are probably going to have to expand our staff room even further to achieve that. It's a fantastic dynamic actually in terms of balancing room sizes, because for something like a staff room here at Lower Bullocks with 4 different buildings, one large staff room is actually a positive thing than having 2 smaller staff rooms, which of course will have lower prestige levels. However, you don't want to go out to town with GP officers and so on, because you only can serve one person at a time, consult one person at a time in the GP office. So you don't want a massive GP office unless it's wasting space, but the larger the staff room, the more staff you can have it at a single time, and of course the less crowded it is. We are pausing time because we are slowly running out of time. I say slowly, quite quickly. 180 days is a long period, but of course we are going 3 times speed at the moment in terms of in the game, so at the moment we do need to just take a step back, calm it down a little bit so we can manage to try and improve our staff room to Prestige Level 4. We are getting there. We have this nice area to now, of course, expand in terms of placing a few more sofas, armchairs, plants, all that good stuff that you want in your staff room. Potentially even a few more vending machines down this side wall. That's what we are going to go for, of course, the staple to the 2 Point game. Get your briny brittle, your cheesy gubbins, and then just fizzy drink, basically. It's not that exciting. We're nearly placing 2 briny brittles there. We don't want that. We're going to have to try and resolve that in a second. I think we're probably better with having another fizzy drink vending machine over there. As always, a fire extinguisher and a lovely old bin next to that. The necessities for every room, and another plant would be quite nice. We'll have to sort that out and engineer that into the room here, our staff room at Lower Bullocks. Maybe we might need 2 staff rooms. We'll have to wait and see. We could always copy this one, although it has been tailored to the shape that we have left in terms of our building at the moment, so it might not really work that well. We'd probably left with some wasted space in terms of if we headed over to our 4th building once we've built that and placed the staff room there. We'll have to wait and see, because of course some buildings, you can really copy them. If you want to go for the minimum room size 3x3 for like a GP office and so on, you're going to go and copy that into other buildings. It's going to be 3x3 because you can't get any smaller, but for a staff room and toilets, it's often better to shape them into the spare space left in your building. That's a bit of advice there. So don't always just copy a staff room. Sometimes tailor making it to the shape of the building that you've got left is much better in terms of using space wiser, because of course you don't have loads of space in terms of the hospitals, and unlike what you can do on 2 Point Campus, you cannot expand the size of the building. What you can do, of course, is you can purchase more buildings and build more buildings, but you can't change the shape and size of a single building. That's something you can do on 2 Point Campus. I'm not sure how I feel about that, as we have now managed to make our staff room Prestige Level 4, and as a result it is currently now our largest building in the hospital. That is an absolute treat for our staff, a haven for them to escape from all of our patients. We've got a pharmacy emergency, we'll take that on. A staff promotion. I'm so generous with these staff promotions, always increasing it a tad further. New illness, inflated ego. We send them to the psychiatrist, and we must carefully deflate the ego using a massive pin. Wow, that is quite Quite an interesting treatment, to say the least. Absolutely love some of these jokes. And we have, of course, made it a level 4 staff room. Exactly what we want to see. That will give us a slight reward too. But, of course, that was just a fun challenge to try and do. And great for our staff too. You know, they're working hard at the moment. We do very soon need to expand to our 4th plot, our 4th building. We are nearly a 3-star hospital, so making it a 3-star hospital would fulfill one of the 2 objectives for today's video, the other to make it a 4-building complex here at Lower Bullocks. We placed another PANS lab, and we are now, as I'm just talking about that, a 3-star hospital. Congratulations. Your hospital has been awarded a 3-star rating by the 2 Point Health Ministry. Being recognised as a first-class establishment is always an accomplishment to be celebrated. May your festivities be righteous but brief, and get back to work. Thank you, Tarquin Froxbridge. We can't have a big old party, can't get the cake and party hats out, unfortunately. That guy's thinking about balloons over there, potentially wanting a bit of fun. I'd love some balloons around the hospital, but now we've got to get straight back to work, as I'm sure you can see. Oh dear, someone's treatment has failed in the extractor plan. Come on, Dr. Alice Blunder. Hopefully this isn't another blunder for her. Quite a vicious animation there, to say the least. And she just killed someone. I cannot believe this here. She's practically murdered someone. Failed a treatment on one patient, killed another. Dr. Alice Blunder. My God, has she just gone and had an absolute blunder. Richard Gunge hurled on the floor, and unfortunately his treatment has failed. Sad to say. However, I am not having that at the moment. We are going to try and upgrade our extractor pan. That should reduce any casualties or deaths as a result of the treatment. But let's see here. Come on, Dr. Alice Blunt. Let's not have another blunder. But I am not having that in our hospital. It's going to have to be the walk of shame for Alice. I do not want to see patients getting murdered and killed. We are going to fire her. We are going to take the hammer here, and Dr. Alice Blunder is going to walk out of our hospital, as we are actually approaching the end of the year. 29th of December, close to the yearly awards ceremony, and there we go. We have fired Dr. Alice Blunder, and she did actually manage to treat her very last patient in the extractor pan lab. As I'm sure you can see, we now have a ghost running around and people screaming as a result. One of our doctors, she's going to walk out. We're going to have to replace her fairly soon, but now we are here at the 2 Point County Healthcare Awards ceremony. Every year we get to come to this, and it's always fantastic to see how many rewards we can accumulate. First of all, Doctor of the Year, we usually claim this one. Can we do it once again? Yes, we can. Natasha Raskell taking that one, and 5,000 to go with that too. What about Nurse of the Year? Can we make it 2 from 2? Our second one. Yes, we can. Emily Teeth. She's brushed that away from our other competitors there. Fantastic to see. Janitor of the Year. Will that be brushed away by a different hospital? It usually is. And it is Jumbo Megacorp sweeping that one away. We threw our chances into the bin early on in the year. What about Assistant of the Year? 3 from 4. Yes, it is Ruby Almore taking that one. Wasn't expecting to take Assistant of the Year. Fantastic work from her at the reception desk, working hard. What about Employer of the Year? Can we take this one? The 5th award, and we do take it. Fantastic to see. And another 5 grand added to the bank, and 5 kudos to go with that too. Sadly, we won't be taking the No Deaths award. We had a couple of ghosts roaming around our hospital. Shame to say. But Jumbo Megacorp clearly with a very good cure rate. No deaths for them. What about the most prestigious hospital? Can we take this one? No, we won't. Fungal Meditech taking that one. Fungal sounding like some sort of a dog hospital thing. Fungal Meditech for all your precious paws. What about Patient's Choice Award, the final one? And we take it, making it 5 from 8. A very successful award ceremony for ourselves here at the end of what I do believe is our second, or is it our third year here at Lower Bullocks. We're taking Doctor of the Year, Nurse of the Year, Assistant of the Year, Employer of the Year, and the Patient's Choice Award. A very, very successful evening there. In terms of hospital value, we currently sit in 4th, same for yearly profits, but we have the second best cure rate at 81% and the third best cures per year at 72. Our reputation sits at 91%, 1% behind Jumbo Megacorp, and we sit in 3rd, a solid position in terms of staff morale. We are looking fairly decent in terms of cures and reputation. We do need to work a bit on our finances, but we are once again on the up. positively making a profit. In terms of our profit and loss, that is starting to go up. Revenue, of course, starting just to go up very slightly, but most importantly, cash balance and hospital value have rocketed recently. Meanwhile, our loans are starting to slowly decline and our physical assets, meanwhile, are increasing. So we're looking strong as it stands in terms of that. Staff count hasn't really increased that much. Staff energy fluctuating a tad fairly recent, and pay satisfaction very similarly so. Nothing too concerning, nothing too fantastic there. Now, of course, we can move on to the patients themselves, and look at that, quite an interesting graph as it stands in terms of visitors. That's not really changed too much, neither has reputation. Cure rate has fluctuated recently on a low as it stands. We'll have to try and get that sorted. Should be a bit better once Emily Blunder has now gone, and health, of course, staying fairly strong. That is pretty much it here at Lower Bullocks for another year, and what a fantastic one it has been, ending it with a great award ceremony. We can now start another year at our second hospital, Lower Bullocks, and as I'm sure you can see, we started with a bit of a ghost infestation problem, to say the least. They're roaming around the hospital. We have one in our first building and one in our third building too. They seem to be releasing ghosty gloop all over the floor, not what we want to see. Unfortunately, Frank Flush did pass away. It seems his hopes of treatment went down the toilet, to say the least. We are going to bring across a janitor, our head janitor, to try and resolve the issue with the ghost. Hopefully she'll be able to sweep him away, sweep this ghastly thing out of our hospital, and she's running away. Oh, right, yes. Maybe, potentially, she doesn't have the ghost qualification. I may not have checked that, but still, as a janitor, you can learn to clear away ghosts. You should not really be scared of them as a janitor. Quite frustrating there for our head janitor to be going and doing that. We are going to go for an installation in a second in terms of this large empty space we have here at our third building. Like we did, of course, do at Hogspot. That was towards the end of that hospital. You might want to go back to the episode and sort of see how we did at Hogspot. Really well put together hospital when it came to the end of it. We are going to place a few more vending machines over there. Get your burp drinks and displease everyone around you. Bit gross, you know, but yeah, who cares? If you're having the time of your life having a drink, no one needs to care. We are going to go then, as I said, for this bench installation, and it was sort of a square type shape, and then we went to go and put a plant in the middle, and then I found that you couldn't put the plant in the middle because you couldn't access it to water it. So, unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to do that. Instead, we could do 3 benches, and then we could have a plant inside of it, or we could do 4 benches and have plants around the edges. That is what we are going to go for, something a bit different, something quite unique. And of course, when we don't have that many items, this is something that you can do in your hospital just to make it a bit more exciting. It's not particularly exciting at the moment. So we are going to start with what is going to be more of a rectangle shape, as I'm sure you can see, not exactly a perfect square at the moment. That doesn't matter, of course, because that more fits the sort of area that we have. It's more of a rectangular shape, this wide area that we currently have at the moment. So we are going to try and shape our bench installation like so. I have moved them so that they're slightly offset on either side, and now the magic. We can place a couple more plants to nicely spruce up our hospital. It'll give the janitors a bit more of a headache in terms of having to go and water all of them, because we do have an awful lot of plants around the hospital at the moment. There's not much we can do though, because there's nothing else really to decorate the area. As I say that, I'm going to go and place a plant right next to the window, and then on the other side of the window we have another plant, the janitor's nightmare at the moment. So is all this ghosty gloop stuff on the floor. Usually the issue is a bit of sick, which isn't exactly pleasant. I don't know whether you want ghost gloop or sick. Personally, I'd much prefer ghost gloop, but you know, that's a personal preference. Tell me what you guys prefer down below in the comment section, because let's face it, these are the important things in life at the moment. We are going to place a couple of benches on the side of one of our 4 chemists. Of course, we do need to have a look at potentially going for a few more GP officers, unless we could have a tad of an issue at the moment. We've got the same amount of GP officers as we do with psychiatrists, and I know there's a lot of mock stars and inflated egos, but nowhere near as many people as the total amount coming into our hospital. We do need to sort this out. We can finally go and expand to plot number 4. We have quite a lot of money at the moment. We have depleted our resources by going and buying this, but we still have 168,000 in the bank. Hopefully that will be in fairly soon. We are going to hire a 5-star Roger Backweedle. What a last name that is. And we are going to get him straight into action to try and help out in our GP officers at the moment. Although all 4 of them are full, we do need to have a look at trying to fill the whole of the first building with GP officers. And I don't even know if that's still going to be enough. We'll have to wait and see. Our 2 general diagnosis rooms currently pretty much fine. And that is probably because no one is actually going to get to there at the moment because everyone's waiting for a GP appointment. So we do need to try and nicely spread out the influx of patients coming into our hospital across multiple GP officers, because at the moment we have quite the issue. We are going to simulate forwards, and this 4th plot cannot be built and changed into a building quick enough, to say the least, because 6 people waiting for 1 room, 5 people even in others. That is an excessive amount, not what we want. It's certainly not going to help us, as people are going to be getting angry, upset, storming out, and people could end up with low health, of course. If you're waiting for way too long, then you head to treatment, and by that time you're pretty much gone turning into a ghost and giving the janitors even more of an issue round our hospital. We do give them quite a lot of work and pain, to say the least. We are going to slow things down and stop the speed entirely. Quite a powerful tool, of course, not something you have in real life. You can't stop things and nicely just go and resolve an issue, move a few PANS labs across here. But then in real life, you don't have PANS labs. And of course, it's more realistic than this, but if this was realistic, this would be a pretty boring game, wouldn't it? If we couldn't remove pans from people's heads, and what a freak cooking accident you have got to have to need a pan removing from your head. I've got to say, such hilarious diseases and wacky illnesses on this game. And I do believe, of course, on 2 Point Campus, we can have a gastronomy course, if I am correct. That'd be really cool, of course. And maybe that is why people are coming over here with pan on their head needing to be removed in the PANS lab. Potentially this is the cause of it. Maybe the 2 games are linked. I'd love to see potentially a few Easter eggs in the 2 Point Campus game linking back to this game. That'd be really, really cool, of course. Maybe even the name of somewhere, whether that be a futuristic version of one of our current places on this game. I wouldn't know loads, of course, because we've mainly been working at really trying to make some progression at our first hospital and second hospital, Lower Bullocks, of course, before that, which was Hogspot. At the moment, we are now going to go and sell our Deluxe Clinic. We have sold the PANS Lab and Deluxe Clinic in the first building, and we have now moved some of them over to our 4th building, and as a result, we can place a couple more GP officers to deal with what is an absolute influx of patients, to say the least. I mean, our hospital, since becoming 3 stars, has certainly attracted quite a lot of patients, and of course, for ourselves, as a result, quite a lot of income, exactly what we want to see. Unfortunately, at the moment, we do have a bit of an issue by the fact I don't think 6 GP officers is still going to be enough. I mean, we have 4 chemists and we have 4 psychiatrists. We probably do need a few more GP officers, to say the least. So we are going to have a look at potentially moving our general diagnosis rooms in a second. I would love to have 3 in a row along here, but, you know, there's a bit of an issue about the fact we do currently have a door to exit out of that building into the 3rd building. If we take that away, I don't even think you can get to the 3rd building, because I do believe then you potentially have to go from the 4th building into the 3rd. I think, yes, you can do that. There's a bit of a branch round opportunity there, but it certainly make it quite awkward. And of course, we can't block a doorway. One of the new cool things I do believe you can do on 2 Point Campus 2 is also remove, well, not just doorways, but of course entrances to the building, and then you can chase things around. Of course, as long as you've got an entrance and every single building is accessible, you can do what you want. You can expand the building, you can change the shape of it as you get further on into the game. It is going to be plenty of fun, to say the least. As I'm sure you can see, we have moved a general diagnosis room over into our 4th building so that you can place a couple more of these GP officers, and then we'll sort out the general diagnosis rooms in a minute. But of course, first, we need to sort out rearranging these GP officers. What really annoys me at the moment is we have this quite a large area of space to fill on this right hand side of the screen at the moment as you exit into our 3rd building, and I really do want to try and get that sorted out, because it's not really a great use of space, but we don't have enough space there to be able to go and place another GP office. We have a diagnosis decision. Carl Higginbottom, 85% sure of the diagnosis. We are going to go and get the patient to wait. It is a bit of a risk, for Carl Higginbottom. I'm actually looking at him. He's got quite low health. Maybe we should have decided that after 273 days here now, he should potentially have just been sent for treatment, even if it is the wrong treatment. That is quite a fun balancing act. I mean, it's not fun for Carl Higginbottom, but quite a cool feature to actually have in this game that we haven't actually realised that we haven't had that yet. As you can now decide whether a patient should go. Should they go and get some further treatment? Now, should they go for that treatment? We're not entirely sure. Or should they potentially have further diagnosis? Because, of course, that's a massive risk. By going for that treatment, you could get the wrong treatment and they could die. But if you go for the extra diagnosis, they could die before having that extra diagnosis or before they even have a chance to get cured. And that is quite a juggling act there, a very difficult decision to make, but really cool that you can interact even more with the patients and how you're going to run your hospital by being able to go and make decisions like that. We are now going to move our general diagnosis rooms in a sort of corridor on entry to our 4th building. That's the kind of plan at the moment. I'm wondering what on earth that is. That's crawling across our floor. A bit of a worm kind of creature. We don't want them. Not very hygienic either, and not particularly pleasant. Although it's not all daisies and meadows here at 2 Point Hospital. It's certainly not the most wonderful things. Of course, it is a hospital, but we don't want to end up having it looking messy. Sally Big Blanket has given us a good report, exactly what we want to see from 2 Point Health Radio. We can return to any hospital in our organisation, but of course what we are going to be focusing on moving on to fairly soon is 2 Point Campus. I talk about it a bit more in greater detail. We have done that throughout the video, but we are going to be starting a playthrough series. I am so looking forward to it because the game, it looks absolutely fantastic. Really, really fun to play, to say the least, and I cannot wait to get into that. Tell me what you guys' thoughts are on us doing a 2 Point Campus series. We'll be beginning that fairly soon, of course, creating our own university and eventually an empire of education, as I'm going to call it. And it'll also be really cool because it's sometimes cool to follow some of the patients' journeys at the hospital, but they don't mean that much because they're going to come to the hospital, they'll get treated, or they won't, and they'll die, unfortunately. And then that's it. That is pretty much it then. However, in 2 Point Campus, you have these same students who are there for a prolonged period of time, and you can really watch them grow and develop, which I think will be absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, we have currently hired another 2 doctors, and we are going to go in there for another couple of nurses. We are going to go for Jill Pomp. Hopefully Jill can get going over here. We are going to place her near the general diagnosis rooms, and we are going to go for another assistant, Ellie Hawk. Hopefully she can service reception potentially a bit, or service a newsagent. We only have, I do believe, 3 assistants at the moment. We have 3 newsagents and 2 reception desks. We had 3 assistants, and now we have 4 assistants, but we do of course have 5 places for assistants to work. So we do need at least 4, unless we're going to have quite a lot of angry patients who can't get some food or a teddy bear. Seems to be all they're stocking at the newsagent. Not particularly helpful, of course, but I suppose, go for that. Meanwhile, we are going to have a look to hire another janitor, Sammy Teeth. We do have someone from the Teeth family. I was tempted to go for him, but instead we are going to go for someone else. Sammy Teeth, I just think he's got some lovely shining white tutty pegs there. That seems so weird. But anyway, we are currently going to have a look at moving a couple of our general diagnosis rooms, potentially towards the corridor here, because then we can fit another deluxe clinic in. And of course, here at 2 Point Hospital, we like it to look nice and organised. As I'm sure you can see, we've kind of segregated the different rooms and parts of the hospital to make it more organised. Whether we'll try and do a similar sort of thing on 2 Point Campus or not, I don't know. We might just keep it as a bit more of a messy flow with it as we progress with the game, not try and get it all organised, because it does feel a bit samey. It's so cool, I think, actually, potentially, for us to have it a bit more mixed up and all over the place in different colours and rooms, and make it a bit more exciting. And of course, it is a university, so that could be the best way to potentially do it. However, I do think potentially having half of the building for dormitories and the students' needs, and then the other half of the building for learning in each building could be a better option than having the learning right next to the student lounge. Dr. Lecreme has yet another challenge for ourselves. What a junior nurse we have. Earn 400,000. Not giving it as easy, are they? They are certainly not. Hopefully we can get that challenge complete. That is certainly not going to be easy, though. We have discovered a new illness, jazz hands. got to stop them from moving around all day. We are going to now move our general diagnosis rooms just so we extend the corridor slightly. So, of course, general diagnosis rooms on one side are really close up to the corridor, and then they sort of come in towards the building on this side. Unfortunately, with the way the PANS labs are placed, it is a tad cramped down there, but there's not much we can do. In the next video, we may, well, if we do another 2 Point Hospital video, whether we do that, if you want to see more 2 Point Hospital video, I will weave that into the schedule too. If you don't, we'll focus on 2 Point Campus. Tell me down below in the comments section. We might come back to this one day. We may end up moving the PANS labs over to this side of the building, and then the deluxe clinics over to the right-hand side of the building, but for the moment, we are going to leave it as it is. Meanwhile, over in our third building, we're looking jolly good. We still haven't managed to resolve this glitch. I don't know how to do that. We are just going to focus on trying to develop our building as much as possible at the moment. We're not going to go and try to make it a fantastic empire of plants and greenery in our first building. We are just going to focus on continuing to make some progress. Thankfully, as it stands in terms of our GP officers, we are currently deflating these excessively long queues. Some of our GP officers currently don't have anyone waiting to be seen, others do, but we aren't going to worry about that too much. Orlando Terry does not look in good health, and I am going to send him for treatment straight away. Take the risk. Looks like we do have a couple of emails. Nora Linthwaite, 88% sure we are going to send her for treatment. And Orlando Terry, well, we're already sending him for treatment. We've already made the decision, being a bit proactive here, and we have discovered yet another fantastic new illness in our 2 Point Hospital game. It's so fantastic to have a hospital management sim that escapes you from all the normal stuff out of hospital, all the gruesome, horrible stuff, you know. We're just removing light bulbs and pans from people's heads. At the moment, in our fourth building, we are going to have a look at moving this deluxe clinic closer to the other ones. Of course, we do like to have some organisation in our hospitals. You know, it's not like a university. It's not meant to be messy and all over the place, you know. This is meant to be fairly organised. We've got all our deluxe clinics over here. I'm not sure if we'll need 5, but for the moment, we are going to place another one. We could do with another general diagnosis room. We'll have a look at doing that now by copying one there and placing that over here, so that we now have 5 general diagnosis rooms. That should certainly be plenty. We may need to have a look at some point in the future, if we do return to this series, in placing a few more GP officers in this hospital. We are going to now have a look at doctors. We are going to go for Peggy Tundra. Bit of a cold woman, to say the least. Not the best for a conversation, but I'm sure she'll be fantastic at treating our patients. Probably a very well experienced consultant there, highly rated too, so we want her on board at our hospital. And we are, of course, need to sort out the toilets in a second. I was wondering whether to copy these toilets into what is, of course, our fourth building, but I do think if we are going to place some toilets over there, it may be better to go and tailor-make the toilets for that sort of a section, so that we utilise the space the best. As I said earlier when I was talking about our staff room, it's better to tailor-make staff rooms and toilets for the area that you have left in your building. Meanwhile, we are going to go for a new room, actually. A cardiology room. And what is better than making sick people run? I don't really know. I mean, apart from pulling pans off people's heads who are sick, you know, make sick people run. Absolutely fantastic to see. Place a bin over there, a couple of filing cabinets, a fire extinguisher, and of course the usual vibrant plant in the corner. Rather samey, but unfortunately, as I said, we don't have that many things that are currently unlocked. I guess we could unlock some stuff with Kudosh. We probably should have done that, but we'll have a look at that on 2 Point Campus when we get into that series. We are going to place a lightheadedness poster. But one of the other cool things, actually, is by having to work with limited items and resources, is that you have to try and optimize what you have, and actually just make the game, although maybe you could view it as more challenging to try and make your rooms look nice and look interesting, or you could see it as less challenging because you've got less options potentially to choose from. And of course, you love options, you've got to have some options of what you're going to go with. At the moment, one of our wards is slightly longer than the other two, and that was because we had a bit of space at the end, and I was like, okay, let's just go in there and not have a weird alleyway left. Well, we are going to remove that because it's not being used, and I don't want to rearrange the whole of that ward. We are going to have 3 identical wards that are all in the same building, so we are going to remove that section and have a weird alleyway, exactly what you want at a hospital. I don't entirely know what we can put there, but potentially maybe a vending machine or two down there. Bench, really, if you're really unsociable, want to escape from all of the walls and the gruesomeness of mock stars in our hospital, you can go and do that. We could place another cardiology room over there, but that would make it a bit cramped. I don't think we need more than two sick people running at a time. I think that's certainly going to be enough. Imagine if it just suddenly breaks, the machine goes absolutely mad, and you end up flying off the black into the wall and then out on the other side onto the grass. That would be quite a spectacular animation. And actually thinking about it, judging on the animations on this game, I would not be surprised at all if you can actually end up flying off the treadmill into the wall. That would be quite hilarious, to say the least. We'll have to have a look at that animation if we do another installment of our 2 Point Thursday series. I've really enjoyed doing this series, and I think we'll probably continue it a bit in the future amongst our 2 Point Campus series. We'll have to see what you guys want. Of course, we are now having a look at the whole of our hospital. I don't think that we do need 5 deluxe clinics. We are going to sell one of them for should be plenty. Hopefully we do get some sort of a PansLab deluxe clinic event maybe soon, where we have an awful lot of different patients coming from a different hospital because of some sort of a disaster over there, to say the least. We are going to hopefully get one of them fairly soon. Meanwhile, our toilet over there doesn't look overly busy, considering we only have one in the hospital, and we have a lightheadedness emergency. Exactly what I was wanting, and we will now be able to utilize what we have as 4 different deluxe clinics. Absolutely fantastic. They don't have to go to the GP office, of course. They've already been diagnosed, and it's pretty obvious anyway. You can just send them straight to a deluxe clinic. You don't need any different... If you've got a pan on your head or a deluxe light bulb on your head, you know, you can go straight to be treated. We don't really need diagnosis for that, do we? It's pretty obvious, you know. We're just wasting our doctor's time at the moment, though. That's pretty much where we are going to end today's video. If you guys have enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already. Of course, don't forget, we will be starting our 2 Point Campus playthrough series very soon, and of course, if you would like to watch some more 2 Point Thursday content, then you can click on one of the 2 videos on the right hand side of the screen. But as always, thanks a lot for watching, and I will catch you all very soon with some more 2 Point content.